Chair and Board of Directors of Investment Fiji, Permanent Secretary for Industry, Trade and Tourism, members of diplomatic corps, members of the private sector, sponsors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Bula Vinaka and a warm welcome to the launch of 2019 Prime Minister's International Business Awards. It's good to see some familiar and new faces in the room, which shows a great sense of commitment and optimism placed on PM's International Business Award. Ladies and gentlemen, 2019 marks the 27th year of the Prime Minister's International Business Awards. It is therefore a pleasure being here to officially launch this much anticipated premier event. Last year was my first year being part of the Prime Minister's International Business Awards as the Minister responsible for Industry, Trade and Tourism. It is encouraging to see how the awards has grown and gained significance in the business community, especially with the focus on small and medium enterprises and young entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, Parliament last week passed the national budget for the 2019-2020 financial year. The budget lays out the blueprint for the second revolution of Fiji's economic development, or the continuation of the Bainimarama boom, supported by a number of incentives for emerging and existing businesses. These incentives will support growth in the areas of tourism, transportation, housing, ICTE in particular, BPO services, research and development, and audiovisual industry. It is also important to note that the 2019-2020 budget has made provisions for the diversification and establishment of a new business, such as pharmaceutical manufacturing, local filmmaking, warehousing and storage facilities, retirement villages and aged care facilities, and waste recycling businesses. We encourage you to capitalize on these incentives for the growth of your businesses or to venture into new sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, investor confidence remains high, with total investments maintaining contribution to the GDP of around 25%. A total of 134 projects, both foreign and local, valued at 872 million, was implemented during the period August 2018 to April 2019. This resulted in 3,575 employment opportunities for Fijians. However, the Fijian government is cognizant of the changing global landscape, and we are undertaking a number of reforms to ensure that investment remains robust. In January 2019, the new investment policy statement was endorsed by the Cabinet. The objective of the investment policy statement is to improve the attractiveness of Fiji as a destination in investments. This is available on the Ministry's website, and I encourage you to please access and have a read. We are reviewing the investment law as well so that we are able to better respond to the needs of the investors and create a dynamic and modern investment climate. The revised legislation will be expanded to include both domestic and foreign investments, as opposed to the current law that focuses only on foreign investments. The key features of the revised legislation will include investors' rights and obligations, national treatment test, and dispute settlement mechanism, as well as investment incentives. This will make the legislation more robust and responsive to the needs of investors, whilst ensuring that investors fulfill their obligation according to the laws of Fiji. And I would like to point out at this stage that we are facing some problems with some investors who are not complying with the laws. And while we welcome investors to come and invest in the country, but we also expect the investors to comply with the laws of Fiji. Furthermore, we are working in consultation with the Singaporean government to review, redesign, and harmonize the building permits and starting a business process. Next month, we will launch an online information portal. This will provide information in relation to building permits and starting up businesses all on a single platform. In addition, we will be taking the construction permit approval processes entirely online, with extensive work scheduled in the next financial year to prepare for the transition. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, as you all know, Fiji hosted the Asian Development Bank annual meeting of the Board of Governors. This actually strengthened our position as host for international meetings, or MICE. MICE, as you all know, is a high niche segment of the tourism industry, and our local operators are developing their product and services to meet the growing demands of this lucrative market. As Fiji's largest foreign exchange earner, we continue to entice investors with new projects coming in every year. This is coupled by broadened incentives and new air routes, meaning new markets and new opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, to increase Fijian exports, Investment Fiji is developing capability support programs and enterprise development tools. This includes the provision of technical assistance and logistical information, regulatory environment improvements, and new market research. This key service is part of the agency's support services designed to assist both local and foreign investors in developing comparative advantages of their products for export. Now let me move on to my next ministerial responsibility, which is towns and cities. Ladies and gentlemen, towns and cities, they play a very pivotal role in shaping a country's economy. The ability of local municipalities to connect people and create a prosperous economic environment is seen as an area of high demand for investors across all sectors, leveraging industrial, commercial, and residential economic opportunities. In Fiji, the two progressive urban economic belts are the Greater Suva area and the Nadi-Lautoka corridor. And I'm saying this based on two major evidence, which is related to the development permit application and the number of business licenses being processed. And that indicates that these two areas are very much in demand, and it is these two areas that are actually generating a lot of economic wealth. Now globally, cities realize the benefit of significant public investment, which then creates the conditions to attract private investment and promote economic opportunities. Fijian towns and cities are on this journey of transformation. Our aim is to see that we are able to compete globally through a positive outlook and the master planning of our towns and cities, which will lead to continued investment, both public and private. Over the last 10 years, the Fijian government has been consistently investing in the improvement of city and town assets, such as municipal markets, bus stands, open spaces, and sports centers. In this regard, number of markets, such as Langere Market, Reki Market, it will be open very soon. The work is basically completed, and we are targeting by end of July or early August for the opening of Langere Market. And similarly, the work in Lautoka related to swimming pool is on the verge of completion as well. So we feel that by getting into such projects, we are also creating a lot more businesses in that area. Now let me talk about the 2-year program that we have established with the Singapore team. This 2-year technical assistance program with Singapore team is actually to establish the master plans for the Greater Suva area, Lautoka and Nadi. And this program is doing very well at this stage. The first stage is over, we are into the second stage. The idea of this master plan is to have a bigger picture, which is to look at the whole of Viti level and decide on the land use planning. And then the second phase is more of a master plan, which is more precise to a particular area, and that area will have finer details. And we are all excited to see the master plan, because that will then decide where our industrial zone will be, where would be our future new city, or maybe our future new airport, or maybe our future new ports. So a lot of data went into this particular study. We had to collect all the data from different government agencies. And you can understand, to develop a master plan, particularly when the towns are really not that well planned. And planning and unplanned growth can always be very difficult. But we have faith in the Singapore team. They have done it before. They've been doing master plans for a number of countries around the globe, and I'm sure they'll be able to come up with something which is appropriate for Fiji and something that we can live with and we can develop as per the master plan. And on Wednesday, I opened the master planning workshop with the relevant stakeholders, and as soon as the first draft will be out, I will encourage all the business people present in this room and other stakeholders, please give in your input. It's very important to get your views on the master plan. Very soon, literally very soon, I will be announcing changes to the operations of our municipalities to bring about better services to the private sector and citizens. I know businesses have been complaining about the services being provided by the municipality, and even the citizens are complaining about that. And I understand, because we all access services from municipalities, and unfortunately they are not rising up to the challenge. And a lot of reforms are needed in this particular area. Now, coming back to today's event, I wish to acknowledge Investment Fiji's commitment to ensuring that the Prime Minister's International Business Award remains a premier event where innovative and creative businesses' ideas are rewarded. We strongly believe that the contribution of each sector or business to the economy, despite size, nature, and markets, needs to be acknowledged. It must be recognized that you all play an important part in the improvement of the livelihoods of our people and overall welfare of Fijians. You are the job creators, the revenue generators, the exporters and innovators who make things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, your hard work and dedication towards the growth of the nation and the 2019 Prime Minister's International Business Award is one of the avenues to do so. The awards, which has strict and transparent criteria, sets a benchmark of excellence, giving that additional push to local businesses to be more competitive and, more importantly, innovative. I encourage small businesses, young entrepreneurs, companies that have demonstrated remarkable success in the Fijian economy to apply for the awards, keeping in mind this is your awards and your achievements being celebrated. Ladies and gentlemen, with those words, it gives me great pleasure to officially launch the 2019 Prime Minister's International Business Awards. Thank you. Vinaka Vakulevu.